We seek refuge in God from the ousted Satan. In the name of God, the Most Exalted. Peace and salutation upon Prophet Muhammad and his progeny. Welcome you again to Quran and Today's Life. Today we have a special topic. As you know, we are talking about jihad. As we told you, jihad is a controversial topic all around the world, and nowadays we are facing with this and we are involved with it. So that is why we invited one of the experts from the Islamic Seminary of Qom, who's going to elaborate and tell us more. And we're going to be updated from this topic to know more. What is jihad? What are the things related to this very important thing in Islam? So, Mr. Huzur Bakhsh, Hujjatul Islam al-Muslimin Huzur Bakhsh, is from Islamic Seminary of Qom. We go to him and say salam and start the show. Salamun alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Welcome to our show, and thanks for your time.
Thank you. Please at your service.
Okay, thank you. So, as you know, we are talking about jihad. So, we have been talking about these things so far, and we have said about different topics and aspects of this very important thing. So, today we're going to know what is the meaning of jihad al-nafs, or the battle against ego. We want to know, what does it mean this? Does it something you have to go for battle, or we have to kill someone or something? What is it in fact?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Thank you again for your time that you have devoted to these kind of serious topics. And so far we have passed about 2 programs, and so if you just let me, I want to explain a little bit about what just happened in the previous sessions, and inshallah just explain it in a short time, then I will come to your answer and reply it, inshallah. So
that's fine.
So far we have been discussing about the different terms which is used in the Holy Quran, different verses. And I told you that there are 4 kinds of terms which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has used in Quran. And so we elaborated these terms, and we don't want to just again go to that part. Then we went to the different types of jihad, and we said that there are different types, and one of the most important kinds of jihad is jihad al-nafs, which is also translated into English as the major jihad. So we have a minor jihad and a major jihad, or the greater jihad. So that minor jihad is the kind of jihad that someone, Muslim, Christian, Jews, they will go to the battle against their enemies and they will fight, for example, personally, physically. This is something routine that we will see around the world. But the major jihad or the greater jihad is not in this way. It is something completely different. It is a kind of battle, or as we said, jihad with the ego, or with the soul, or with the essence of the very person. It is called as a greater jihad in comparison to the other kind of jihad, which is a minor jihad. That I told you, it is physically something which is related to physical, going and with weapons and other things. So the question here is, which is raised here, is that why it is called a greater jihad. So when we compare these 2 kinds to one another, for example, someone is just wants to go to a battle, so there are several things that he must do. First, he must, for example, if he has got a family here, so he must leave his family over, and just leaving them and going, for example, just traveling to some other places. So just feelings of being alone is one of the disadvantages, or one of the things that that person must do. And also going to the battle, there are many different kinds of sufferings. Maybe sometimes that person gets injured, or different things that we cannot see these disadvantages in another type of jihad, which is called greater jihad. So this question comes to our mind. So if this is the situation, that physical challenge, that physical battle is more severe than this one. So why This one is called a greater jihad. But if we want to go deeply to that, another type must be called a greater jihad. I mean that physical one. So why this? For example, someone wants to go to the battle with he himself. So it is nothing. For example, there is no any case of leaving the family. There is no any case of going and getting injured. There is no any being in hunger or being thirsty or this, situation and this harmful situation. There is nothing out of that. So why it is called a greater jihad here? The answer and reply to this question, just going to your point also, saying that why it is called greater jihad is that when someone, there are several different answers, but I will tell you the most important ones.
Excuse me, you mean going against, to have battle against your ego is the greatest jihad, you mean?
Is the greatest and is more important the other kind, the other type that I told you. When a person wants to go to the battle with himself, person or humankind is a combination of two parts. So these two parts are really important, and they are playing a very important role in our life. So there must be a balance between these two parts. The first part is the bodily aspect of our life, which is related to body and
the physical.
Yeah, physical one, of course. This corpse. And the second type is the soul, of course. So the one part is the physical matter, and another part is spiritual. The inner part, which is the soul.
The soul,
yes. So when a person wants to go to the battle, so between these two parts, that physical battle is related to that physical part of the human life or that human being. But about the major and the greater jihad, that person must go to the battle with the second part, which is the spiritual one, and with the soul. And when in the philosophy, all the philosophers, they do believe that the second part, which is the spirit or the ghost, or sometimes they translate into soul, it is more important than the body. So the battle with this second part is also more important. This is one case that why they call this jihad as the greater jihad. Another thing is that when we think with ourselves, if someone wants to go to that physical battle, going to the war and against the enemies of the country, of the nation, of maybe he himself. So if that very person could not solve this harm situation, could not think with himself that I'm going to this battle, spiritually just challenge all these difficulties and problems and going that, okay, I want to go to this battle. Spiritually just solve all these problems and difficulties and saying that, okay, I want to go there. So before going into that physical battle, he must make himself prepared and ready spiritually. So if
like how?
If just to complete, and I will cut. So how? If you cannot make yourself ready, if you cannot prepare yourself in accordance with your spirit, so you cannot step forward to that physical battle. That's why. So that greater jihad is the reason, is the cause for that minor jihad, that let you go to that minor jihad. This is another reason that why we call this jihad as a greater jihad in comparison to that minor jihad. So, you said, for example, how we can prepare ourselves according to spirit. Spiritually, how can we prepare ourselves, make ourselves ready? I have to tell you that we have to consider the case of a human being and mankind in comparison with other creatures. When we compare human being with other creatures, we will see that we are in that hierarchy, starting from, for example, let's say, from solid things, from, for example, this table, this computer, this laptop, or whatever surrounding us. starting from this very, the lowest creature in the world. So after that, we will come to a little bit, upper or higher, which is the plants. Then we will go to animals, a little bit higher, of course. This is the hierarchy in philosophy and logic that all philosophers, they will just divide these creatures into these parts. So starting from those ones, those things, and then coming to plants, trees, and then coming a little bit, in the level of existence, they are going to get, upper and upper and upper, get a higher position among the creatures in this world. So then after animals is turn to human beings, and this go after that it will time to angels and just going up. So this is the normal division that they will do in this hierarchy. But sometimes it comes to our mind. So if the place of human being is here, for example, after upper than the animals, but lower than the angels, so why we will see that sometimes we have in the example some prophets, which we do believe that they are upper than even the angels. For example, for Christians, they do believe that Jesus Christ was higher and higher than even higher than the angels, and sometimes they will call it as the Son of God. Okay, so for they themselves, they do believe that Jesus Christ was, of course, upper than, higher than the angels. For example, Jews and Jewish people, Prophet Musa also has got the same case. For Muslims, also all prophets, and also Prophet Musa, prophetess, and also Prophet Muhammad, also all prophets, we do believe that. How is it come? What is the cause? Because the basic position of human being is here. I want to tell you the reason, and exactly going to that point of two parts. If a person just sticks to the physical part of his life, okay, just thinking about the money, financial needs, sexual part of the life, and his lust, his desires, only thinking about these aspects of life, not thinking about God, not thinking about the sacrifice for his way and his orders, just devotion, just devotes himself to his orders, jargons. So, and just thinking about technology, of course, technology in the way of against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This person will go even lower than animals in his place. Because also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in one of the verses said, أُولَٰئِكَ كَالْأَنْعَامِ بَلْ هُمْ أَضَلُّ. So some people, they are like animals, even worse than them.
You mean because they're going after the worldly desire and this, what they call it, materialistic things, so they're becoming lower than the animals?
Exactly. Why? Because for animals, they don't have any mind to think about the result of their actions. But for mankind, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives this brain or this mind for us as a gift to think about our pros and cons of the actions, for and against.
So you mean rationality, wisdom?
Rationality and wisdom, thank you. So for this reason, intellect that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us, so He also expects us more than animals. So if we just ruin this gift, the position will be worse than animals, because animals, they don't have this gift, but they will live maybe better than a human being. This is so when we stick and get engaged too much to this part, this is the place that we are going in. I'm going down, let's say. But in the other side, we will see that when a person just goes to the second part or second part of his life, which is spirit and spirituality. This is the case that we will see some examples, some models, like prophets. They will go and get to the higher level of humanity, even higher than angels. Like, for example, Prophet Isa, Jesus Christ, or the Prophet Musa, or the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, when a person can go to the battle and challenge with his ego, okay, so he is going through that major battle, which is a preliminary step of the next steps, which is, for example, physical battle and other things. So this spirit, this soul, is very important in human life, which is the second part. So how can we get, your question was that, how can we make ourselves ready for example, physical battle, to persuade ourselves, to convince ourselves to just leave our family alone, okay, wife, children, and money, and the house, and the fancy and luxurious things that we have, and going for fun on weekends. Just forget all about these things and just putting ourselves into difficulties and problems. So if you cannot make yourself spirituality, according to spirit, ready for this situation, you cannot go to that physical challenge.
Excuse me, something come to my mind, Yeah. So you mean if you want to have this thing as a, what they call it, jihad in nafs, so you mean we shouldn't go for having fun, we shouldn't go for a trip, we shouldn't enjoy ourselves? What do you mean exactly?
No, what I mean is not against these pleasures. No. But when you go to the battle, you have to leave all these things. So you have to set them aside. Yes or no? When you want to go to your enemy, this is the time that you have to take the weapon or something. There is no any pleasure. There is no any family. Okay? So you have to set all these aside.
Okay, thank you. So let's hold on and we'll go for a short break and we'll be back, right back, and continue this. Okay, dear audience, don't go anyway. We'll come back. Welcome back. As you know, we are talking about Jihad al-Nafs, and in English we call it battle against our ego. And our expert was talking about this and was elaborating and told us about all the aspects of this very important thing in our whole lives. So now, I want to ask, can we have some instance, some samples for that? Can you give us, for example, sir, something, for example, somebody has done it, somebody like, one of the prophets or some people, pious people, they have done this thing as a sample for us?
Very good question, because sometimes when we discuss about some ideals that we have in our life that we have to get into, this is the goal and purpose of our life. So some people, they might think that, okay, these are our ideals, but there is no any reality. There is no any actualities behind it. It means that we cannot find anyone or that can pass this test or exam, can reach to this level. But about the case that I told you, we have to stick to the second part of our life more than the first one. The spiritual part more than the physical part. It does not mean that we have to set our physical needs aside and just someone in seclusion, just make ourselves secular from the society and thinking about God and just forget about the family life, wife, and desires. No, it does not mean that. But I want to say that the spiritual part is several times more important than the physical part. Okay. Of course, coming to your point and your question, of course there are examples. Let me tell you the Prophet Ibrahim or Abraham, because also we call Abrahamic religions, which all these three main branches of Abrahamic religion, which is Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, they do believe, of course, in him. And they accepted Prophet Ibrahim as one of the most important prophets. We will see, let me tell you the one verse of Quran, and after that I will tell you the stories. That's Allah correct. Subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم وإذ ابتلى إبراهيم ربه بكلمات فأتمهن. This is the chapter 2, verse 124. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, when Prophet Ibrahim could pass several tests or many tests, okay, فَأْتَمَّهُنْ means he could pass all those previous tests. وَإِذَا ابْتَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ رَبُّهُ بِكَلِمَاتٍ فَأَتَمَّهُنْ قَالَ إِنِّي جَاعِلُكَ لِلنَّاسِ إِمَامًا. Now is the time that I will make you the leader and imam of the community. So, what were those tests? Let me tell you, for example, one of them, which is something inspiring also for me. We will see that when in several nights, Prophet Ibrahim, in a vision, he saw that he is just slaughtering his own son. So in the first nights, he thought that, okay, this is a simple nightmare or whatever. But when several times, just repeatedly, this vision or this sleeping dream happened, he thought that, no, this is not only a dream. This is not only a nightmare. Or this is something that must happen.
It's not an illusion.
Yeah, it's not an illusion. It is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants me to do that, to obey. This is a kind of order. At that time, his wife, Hagar, and Ishmael, they were living far away from him. So, hardly ever Prophet Ibrahim could see them. And when, after, long time, again, he went to Hagar and Ishmael to see them, so you will suppose the situation, how it is really. It is really hard for a father of the family who hardly ever can see his son to just go, okay, let us just go, I want to slaughter you for the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is really difficult. Whenever I'm just thinking about this test, I said, okay, I'm done with this. It is sure that if I were in his place, what was the result? But Prophet Ibrahim just did not say anything to the Hagar, because mothers, they are completely full of feelings and sensitive.
Compassion.
Yes, compassion. So when they went out for example, sightseeing or whatever they went, so the Prophet Ibrahim told his son that this is my dream, this is a vision that I had, and I have to just obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And surprisingly, his son also accepted. He said, okay, if this is for the sake of Allah, no problem, I will do.
I submit myself to God.
I will submit. So the rest of the story, that Prophet Ibrahim, several times Shaitan just came through and wants to just make Prophet Ibrahim just deceived in this regard. But he just rejected that several times. And when it was the final step to slaughter him, so the knife could not, cut the throat. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Prophet Ibrahim just fulfilled his mission. So this is something that we will see if Prophet Ibrahim wants to stick to his physical, pleasures and physical part of his life, he never even could think about this action and this mission or this order to just obey it. But because they were that much down to earth to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his orders, so it was not that much problem. Of course it was hard for them. I don't want to say that it was not difficult. Of course, tests and examinations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always hard, even for the prophets, but they will obey it. Let me tell you, for example, another example of Prophet Joseph. Okay, just to complete the previous, when you fulfill all these tests and examinations, so as the result you will get to the higher position in humanity. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that very verse which I recited for you said, after Prophet Ibrahim has passed all those texts, he became the leader and the imam of the community. This is the result, and this is the fruit of that passing.
God elevated his rank.
Exactly. Okay. Let's go to another story, Prophet Joseph. What he did when that beautiful woman was coming to him several times, Zulaykha, which is her name in the traditions. So several times, because of Prophet Joseph was really also very handsome and good looking. In one hadith, I've heard that even if there are 10 parts for the perfect beauty in this world, 9 parts of it, the portion, I mean, 9 parts of it just was devoted to Prophet Joseph. So how handsome he was. So that woman was attracted to him several times. She wants, him to go in with one another. But Prophet Joseph also rejected her several times, and it came to the step that he ran away from her. It is also not a very simple test. It is also very difficult. And as the result, we will see, although Prophet Joseph went to the prison for 7 years, or more or less 7 years, but after that, he became one of the most responsible of the official affairs in the society of that time.
So, excuse me, sir, you mean that, Prophet Joseph as well, he had lost, and he wasn't a supernatural person, he had lost and desires, so he fought against his desire.
Exactly, because
some people may think that, these people are very supernatural, they don't have this desire, they are, they don't have loss, so that is just for us, so they're exceptional, they don't have something like that. So you mean he was like us, but he has avoided from this beautiful and gorgeous lady, and because of God, as a, what do you call it, submission and
surrender
to he just obeyed God and dismiss this thing and forget about it.
This is the very good point that you mentioned. It is exactly like that. This is one of the concern of the prophets, because even Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Holy Quran, of course Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and he just narrated from God, that قُلْ أَنَا بَشَرٌ مِثْلُكُمْ يُوحَى إِلَيَّ. So I'm exactly like you. So this flesh, these desires, these physical needs that I have is exactly the same as you ordinary people. Because if there is no any, the first part, I mean the physical needs, and there is no any meaningful test. So what is the difference between angels and human beings? What is the difference between angels and prophets? If, for example, take the example of the angels, we will see that they don't have any desire. So it is so easy for them to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
So this free will, make us to have this examination.
Exactly,
and so on,
and God, that's why, and due to this free will and the choice and these desires and lust, that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if we can fulfill our mission, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will elaborate us even higher than the angels.
Thank you very much. We enjoyed a lot and we learned a lot from you. And thanks for watching us, and I hope you chase us in the next episode of this program. And thanks for your company. See you later.